Good afternoon, everyone. At this time, we're going to do a roll call. Right? The clerk, we're going to access, you're going to do roll call, or you want to do it? Okay, thank you.
Joint meeting of the County, Fort County Commission, City of Labelle, for transportation. The attendants are Vice Chair Mitchell Wills, Commissioner Emery Howard.
Okay.
Commissioner Raymond Iglesias, County Attorney Matt Robertson, County Administrator Jennifer Davis. In attendance for the City of Labelle, Mayor Julie Wilkins, Commissioner Daniel Aiken, Commissioner Jackie Radica, Commissioner Bobby Spratt, and Commissioner Hugo Vargas.
Join us in prayer. Father, ask you tonight, Lord, to help us, Father, make the decisions to best fit the future of Henry County, Lord. We thank you, Father, for each board represented here tonight. And I pray, Father, give us discernment, Lord. Give us vision beyond what we see right now, that we see what you have for this community, Lord. Father, be with us, Father. We bind the spirit right now of offense. We loose your spirit, Father, have his way in his will in this meeting tonight. Father, I just pray now for every man and woman that's ever put on a uniform before us the right to stand here today, Lord. Past, present, and future in each branch of our military. Be with our fire department, our EMS workers, our sheriff's department. Keep them safe, Lord, as they do daily what they do. Keep each one of us out of harm's way here as well, Father. Father, we're careful to always give you the glory in Jesus' name. Amen.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The City of Commissioner Labelle joint meeting. Just for the record, people, if you have a phone or anything, any electronic device messages, silence them for me, please, at this time. There will not be any public comments at this time today, but in the future, it will be available. Today, we're not doing any public comments that we're able to get through the presentation, okay? So we just appreciate everybody for coming out today, and we're just gonna turn this over to Shane Parker. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, this evening you're going to have an update from the DOT on since the last joint meeting. We're going to give you a presentation, but before they start, I want to give you some takeaways from the last board meeting, which was a consensus that I gathered from you all. Number one, there was a general consensus for on-street parking on Main Street north of State Road 80. There was a general consensus that access needs to be made from Bridge Street to Park Avenue to allow access to Barron Park, it being understood that this will only be a right in. There was no general consensus on whether a roundabout or a signalized intersection is preferred to State Road 29 and Cowboy Way. However, after some lengthy discussion, the commissioners were leaning towards a roundabout is sized properly. Bridge and Main Street south of State Road 80, there was discussion and concern about not being able to make a left turn onto either of these two streets from the adjacent side streets. There was a concern that traffic volumes would be too great and that you all like being able to get to the bidirectional turn lane, or commonly known as the suicide lane, to wait for an opening before merging over into the desired travel lane. There was a general consensus for left turn lanes in certain areas of Bridge and Main Streets. There was an overall consensus that State Road 80 should be all traffic signals, and that you all did not like the concept of a bow tie with roundabouts. However, with that being stated, you all wanted to know if a roundabout could be installed at Bridge Street and State Road 80, the latter request being understood that there may be a need for another roundabout along State Road 80 to make this work. In regard to the roundabouts, there was discussion of the roundabout at the Veronica Shoemaker and Hampton Street intersection of Lee County. All the commissioners wanted to know the size of this roundabout in Lee County and how that compared to the roundabouts that FDOT is proposing. The commissioners who traveled to Lee County felt this roundabout in Lee County was not properly sized, and are all very concerned that an improperly sized roundabout will be installed in Labelle. And that was the takeaways from the last joint meeting. And I will now turn it over to DOT.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Now? Okay, so the intent behind this meeting was really for us to get the workshop in order to get input from the county and the city on what it is that they would like to see with this project. We have a project that would, in within the city limits, the limits of the project go from Cowboy Way on the south end up to Wooden Road on that ordinance. So the way we're going to approach this, and we'll address some of the comments that were made by Shane Parker, and show those once we come along those at the time we come across those. So we're going to do a step through the project and kind of discuss each of the intersections and the corridors to again have a discussion on what it is that you guys would like to see, the features that you guys are looking to see within those areas. So moving through, here it is, we're going to step through each of these. I know there's a lot on the slide. We're just kind of showing the different areas we're going to look at. We're going to look at the intersection at Cowboy Way, the two corridors of Main Street and Bridge Street, south of State Road 80, State Road 80 intersection, the two corridors of Main Street and Bridge Street, north of State Road 80, and then the intersection at Park. So starting with the intersection at Cowboy Way, here's what you have existing now. Main Street on the top of the street, Bridge on the bottom. You have two four-way stops that really don't allow for a lot of traffic to go through there. You have short-term lane lanes. And again, we've discussed in previous conversations about swapping the roadway 29 designation from Main Street to Bridge Street. And in order for that to happen, we need to make some pretty major geometric changes to this intersection. So as Shane alluded to, the leanings of what you guys are looking at with this roundabout. So we have, I'm going to show it here again as an example of what it is that we're looking at. So at this point, I'd kind of like to open up any discussions or questions you may have regarding this and what you would like to see here and any issues that you may have.
Any questions? Any comment?
I will point out that the inscribed diameter of this roundabout is 260 feet, and the Veronica Shoemaker was 192. So this is significantly larger, but it is a 5-lane roundabout, so it is a larger roundabout. So the size of it, I know that was a concern, but it is much larger than that Veronica Shoemaker.
So what would be eliminated?
What would be eliminated?
Outside of the like stores, what would be eliminated from the area?
Just the gas station.
What city?
And the oak tree.
How big is how wide is the 82 to 20 now roundabout?
We'll look at that. But I believe it's much smaller than this.
Madam Chair, that was the concern that I've heard from multiple people, and I don't frequent that area and haven't traveled it, but multiple people have seen deer crashes because of the bus or semi there. It's not running or efficient, and we have truck traffic. Like racing through this intersection as well as buses. So.
Yes, and once we get into the formal design of this roundabout, that would all be looked at. We would run models and make sure that the trucks would be able to navigate through, and it would be intended to side by side. So all of that would be ran, and the analysis would be evaluated to make sure that that can happen.
Okay, not to be cruel, but that's what you did for Immokalee, and they have just as much traffic. I mean, for that intersection, they have just as much or more than we did with 82 and 29. So that's just highlighting the concern.
Understood.
Madam Chair, the one of the concern we had in discussing this was that at certain times of the day, first thing in the morning, there's quite a bit of school bus traffic, along with the traffic coming from 29 going north or coming south as well. That was the concern we had in this roundabout area. Discussing that, there's times we'll have 12 to 15 buses coming through there first thing in the morning, 3:30 in the afternoon. So that was a concern I had as far as the roundabout in that area. And that was a concern.
Yes, and obviously we can look at what those movement would be with the school bus system.
Is there anyone, in this size anywhere in the state that we could use another roundabout the same size as this one? That you know?
I do not know the answer to that.
Any other comments or concerns?
For clarification, the size of the Veronica Shoemaker roundabout again, I missed that.
192.
192.
192.
And this is 260, right?
Yes, this is 260.
How big is the one in Immokalee? 82.
I bet it's smaller to Spratt than
I would think so.
even that one.
We just traveled it and I didn't feel very safe on it at all. From going down to Immokalee and coming back up.
What specifically were you not saying? Entry?
Well, I didn't feel like the traffic was slowing down like it's supposed to, you know, which is not your fault. But still, I thought it was very confusing and, I just felt unsafe on it. And I did research roundabouts, and Florida is the state with the most roundabouts, and I think that's pretty young. Yes? Probably.
That may or may not be a compliment.
Take it like you will.
For, in this, specific size roundabout, is there an estimate of how many, say, passenger cars per minute or hour, some sort of numerical value we can put to it? And same thing with larger vehicles. Does the size, can you calculate what rate of traffic moves through here?
When we're evaluating the intersection, we're looking at delay times and queue lengths of vehicles waiting to get into the intersection or through the roundabout. So that has been looked at. I don't know if you have some of the numbers on that, but the reason this was selected is because it reduced the numbers below what that criteria would be. So it allowed sufficient traffic to get through to meet the anticipated traffic that we're showing beyond 2040, of what that traffic would be beyond 2040. So the level of service of this roundabout would still meet those traffic dimensions.
We have a copy of the, I'm sorry, is there a copy of the other design prior to this? You have,
With the signals?
yes.
Yeah, but not the one you have here. Yeah, there's a different option with signals.
If I may, was it Florida?
I don't see it.
Is it Florida?
It was basically an intersection like you have over off of 82. They call it a common intersection. There it is. I just don't see it on the presentation on here.
Right, I only had what I was showing there was what I understood to be what you guys were leaning for, so I did not have it shown. I figured if it wanted to be seen, we could pull it up, so I have it here.
Thank you.
So I didn't have a problem with the roundabout. I think even with this one, anything we do is gonna be a challenge to anyone until they get used to it. Only recommendations I would say our locals will do fine once they realize that I'm taking a bus, I know I need to be in this lane. It might be new for other people right now waiting at the four-way, waiting on the side, if somebody's gonna leave before I leave. You know, so I didn't have a problem with the roundabout, except it was too small. So it's large, it's on a larger scale right now, and I live like roundabouts, but if I'm gonna say it's best for us now, I would say it is simply because I don't have to wait to turn. If I gotta wait till the car across the street from me, it's gonna go before I go. So I just feel like the locals, the bus drivers need to be able to go out and try to get used to it, or know what lane I need to be in, or how do I need to adjust myself. Are there any other comments or concerns?
I would like to see the rate and capacities of the roundabout.
Sure, and we can get those numbers.
So on this plan here, you're not buying out the 7-Eleven when you go there?
This one here would also take that, I guess.
I just noticed that you had, the change in the facts. But the gist is not a check, 7-Eleven goes away either.
Yes.
I guess my biggest concern was buses being able to navigate that in the morning traffic and afternoon. It's not so much the navigation portion of it, it's the portion of knowing they're going east to west. So when they come into that roundabout, if you want to go back to that real quick, when they come into that roundabout, they've got to go from the inside, outside to inside. So, like again, certain times of the year, the traffic is very heavy with, vegetables, fruits, everything coming from Motley through the packing houses. So my concern is our children. That's the thing. They're the ones on the buses. The drivers can figure that out and navigate it. My concern is being able to navigate it safely. That's my concern with this as far as traffic. So understand it's not the roundabout itself. It's the thought about, I see people over there, every time you turn around, they shoot through that roundabout, they don't slow down. The yield signs will not suggested. Really, my concern is our children getting through these roundabouts in a safe manner. So that's my concern for this.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
clarification, thank you, Mr. Willis, for that. So the left turn lane on the southern half of Cowboy Way, below the roundabout. The left lane is the turn lane, so it is inside to outside. The buses would have to cross traffic to get into the right lane to go north on Cowboy Way, west of Cowboy Way.
West, that's right.
Is that correct?
No, they would stay on the outside.
But wouldn't they be on the inside, the outside lane, they would be in the left lane to go into the roundabout. Unless they were turning right, then they would go right on the Bridge Street.
So
But that left turn, they have to go into the circle. So they can go into the circle from, never mind, now.
Yeah, so they
the
can
left lane would be a left to
Left
go
lane
south
would
of
go
29.
into the right
Yeah,
lane.
and it's kind of like how any kind of intersection works, where you want to go straight or right here in the outside lane, you want to go left, and then the left hand lane. So in this case, you want to go south on 29, that's why it puts you in that left hand lane. Or to do the U-turn and come back.
So no, they would be going west on Cowboy Way, that's where the buses.
Yeah, to go into the school, yeah, so they would be in the outside lane, and then staying in the outside lane, and then.
Yes, sir, thank you.
If I'm correct, if they stay in the outside lane and they choose not to go left, they can get in the farther outside lane and just take them the way it needs to go. So either way it goes, they can either go to the left or go to the left on the, towards Cowboy Way.
Thank you.
Any more comments?
I can't make any recommendation of that, seeing the periods, everyone else is saying, bus and truck traffic, we really have to see that before we can, work with this. And the same concern about safety, big truck, bus traffic, I think periods in there, kind of coinciding at the same time all the time, so.
And those peak periods, they were evaluated, we looked at the traffic volumes and evaluated those peak periods. So we can certainly get that.
One of the things that I'm seeing a lot more pavement on the ground for all these vehicles during those times too, and what is there now. What is one thing to look at now versus how much pavement is going in that big circle in all the lanes. It could possibly be better.
And another question on that, is the center pavement painted green or do we get landscaping now? Over trees.
It would be a grass, and it would be landscape.
Okay.
It's not pavement.
How big is that big green circle?
So just, any roundabout, you have to be careful not blocking sight distance, cross all different angles that goes in there, but it is, like the typical roundabout range, like the outside edge diameter is 160 square feet. So, the one at Shoemaker is big on that range. This one's bigger because it's 5 by 8 wire. So it's definitely bigger than one you're normally going to see.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay.
Is there any other comments or questions for that other intersection?
Well, Madam Chair, I guess my main question is what's the timeline on, thumbs up, thumbs down, and moving forward? How's this rolling out?
So I do have a slide at the end to kind of address some of the timeline. So we will need to get moving relatively soon. We would be looking to have the public hearing, to close out the PD reevaluation portion by the end of this calendar year.
Madam Chairman, may I ask a question, please? Are you going to, is FDOT going to take care of 29 whether we accept these proposals or not?
We maintain our roadways.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions? Thank you.
Okay, so next we'll be looking at the corridor of Main Street, between Cottonwood Way and State Road 8. Here's what is currently existing out there. You have a 6-foot sidewalk, on one side of the roadway, 2 4-foot paved shoulders, and 2 12-foot travel lanes, and the, bi-directional turn lane at 12 foot as well. So again, just as before, would like to open up discussion on what the city and the county envision this corridor, the improvements made to this corridor would be.
Thank you. You called for comments.
Yes. The concern was when they improved this intersection that the bidirectional turn lanes would go away. There was concern about left turns going into the businesses and then also being on the side street, the exit onto the road and making a left onto Bridge or Main Street and have a bidirectional turn lane to sit in so you can merge into traffic. That was the concern from last time.
So, to make a comment. You have the floor.
Oh, thank you. Voice. In the, one of the plans that you submitted was to widen the sidewalk and put a bike path on one side, correct? You have a picture of that option?
You wanted the bike lanes?
Just some options for us to look at. I don't know if everybody remembers, and
You have the last.
yeah, there you go. And I recall that I feel like I was the only one that actually liked the wide sidewalk because no one else thought that there would be very many walkers on the roads and it might be better use for it. So I was just curious what the other commissioners.
What bothers me about that plan is that there is no center turn lane.
Right.
And I don't think we can do away with that center turn lane.
So we would be looking at certain areas, hot spots, if you will, that would require a left turn into a business or whatever.
How you pick with business is what? How do you, because as soon as you give one to South House Pizza, you don't give one to the next business, you're going to be in your plane.
And it's not just turning into businesses, it's getting out of businesses. That's just as equally as that.
Ms. Scott,
Now,
I want to echo on
I can't
that.
see you.
I know, I can see you in the blue. Our main concern is during the season, the ability to get on and off traffic. And I know the models, when you widen it out, they can probably show up, but I just think there's a reality, and that's why I think we were all kind of, if I remember, I don't know where you went or whatever, I remember we all were kind of in favor of keeping the center on and off ramp, if you will. And so that's where I was, Ms. Wilkins, is wanting to keep that in there. And I would even go so far as to forfeit a sidewalk on one side. And I think that we should kind of decide, where we want that sidewalk and then move from there.
I understand, that's why we're here, to understand what it is that you guys want in this corridor. If you do not wish to see sidewalks on both sides, then that's what we're here to understand.
Thank
So we
you,
can move
Carson.
forward.
So I just asked a question, are there a lot of bikers that ride, but you can have one side for bikers and one side for sidewalk, and still keep the center line? Is that doable?
To answer your question, no, there are not a lot of bikers, there are a few, but not a lot.
In season, there are people.
There are a few more.
But do y'all think we need 16 feet of sidewalk, 10
No,
feet?
no, sir.
Need,
No, sir.
not at all. Yeah.
Capital N, capital O, no.
How wide is the sidewalk now?
4 or 6?
There's six, you know, my thing is that two people, to me, two people, normal people side by side, unless you're like really, really friendly, can't walk comfortably on 6-foot sidewalks, so me, I like wider sidewalks.
Well, they get the golf carts down them, so Julie, what's going on with you?
I like the space, what can I tell you?
Well, I do, Madam Chair. If we look at this picture here, and we take, as Commissioner Turner and, Mr. Spratt was saying, we alleviate one side, we keep the middle lane, and if it's a wider situation, maybe it turns into a multi-use path rather than a sidewalk on one side of the corridor, and the other side of the corridor is a direct turn into wherever you're going, like it is now on one side. We have a sidewalk on one side now, and the other side is not. But if you widen it out a little bit again, it's a multi-use path, and we could look at the corridor in that view, you know.
Madam Commissioner, I agree with Commissioner Wilson. I like the multi-use path as well. Commissioner Spratt.
That middle lane is more important than the sidewalk.
I don't see how we can give up.
Yeah.
I agree with that comment.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Okay.
Chair, I'd like to make a point. Just one of the things that I think we need to also look at, what we decide is that eliminating that middle lane, definitely maybe slows down traffic. Because now we have more people, having to turn and having to wait. And so it's kind of like a give and take. We can keep our traffic slower, but at the same time, it would be more convenient for the locals to get around place to place. So it kind of, you gotta look at it from both ways. With the suicide lane, the way we have them, we have, well, I feel it's kind of a high speed limit for this corridor right here, it's 45. With the suicide lane, where you can easily do 45 plus. Okay? If you eliminate it, now you have more cars stopping, to turn into businesses and stuff, and it's slowing down traffic, and is that really what we want? We want to slow down traffic on the main street, or do we want to sit where we can? Do we have to sacrifice one way or the other? Do we accept the speed and say, okay, or we say, let's control the speed and just maybe give convenience on time wise?
And always lower the speed, but when I go on 27, I appreciate the middle lane, because I know I can't get in. If I get into the middle lane, then I can get into traffic. But without that middle lane, I would not be able to get in on 27, unless I go all the way down to the little county to the light.
The same way on A.
So, my option would be to keep the middle lane. Even though I'm not living here and see the traffic here, but the middle lane, I do think it's still needed, because you still will not be able to get in or get out without, at least you can get in the middle lane and you can get into the traffic. But without that middle lane, you're gonna be sitting there trying to get into traffic.
With that being said, Commissioner Bird, that's if we don't put any more of those pedestrian crosswalks in that have become an issue in themselves.
I don't know if that's a appropriate place for a crosswalk in front of.
Well, the one we have is in an inappropriate place. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. The enemy ain't coming out. That's okay.
I believe if we get that option to look at with a multi-use path on one side, keeping the turning lane. If we could get a look at that, we'd really appreciate that. Give us another option. Commissioner Vargas, I agree to the point that it will slow traffic down. The only issue with that is in certain areas it's going to stop traffic, which means if it's too close to close to the courthouse, we're gonna back traffic back up into 80 again, but you're on point about slowing traffic down. So that'd be my only concern with that, is stopping traffic could result in causing backups, that'd be the only concern.
What's the speed limit there now, 45?
Yes.
45.
So it wouldn't be a problem changing to 35.
Maybe enforcement, turning the south lane, give everybody tickets for a while, and we'll slow them down.
Be careful, the sheriff's a lot more money.
He already does.
He already gets it from us, so.
Okay, so just so we can kind of reiterate what it is that we're gonna take a look at, eliminating sidewalk on one side, a shared use path on the other, bike lanes, looking to eliminate those, and keep the middle turn.
I think that's where we're all leaning about. You can also leave the multi-use path can be used for golf carts, can be used for riding bikes, whatever the case may be. So that takes away the need for it in traffic areas. I think that makes it a little safer for bicycles as well.
Did everyone want to eliminate the bike lanes?
If we have a multi-use patch, then I definitely, I think most people, they use the sidewalk anyway, because no one feels safe on that road. So I'd like to see if it was absolutely necessary to remove the existing, keep one sidewalk at 6 foot, and keep everything else.
We currently have it on this side, right?
We have a sidewalk.
It's on,
So, I think that makes more sense as well.
Are you saying to keep it on both sides?
No, ma'am, I think what she's saying is keep the existing sidewalk the way it is, make sure it meets what we could have from a shared use, multi-use path, and then go back to what we were saying, center lane. Yes, ma'am.
Everybody agree with that?
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, we're gonna move on.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next corridor, which will be Bridge Street between Cowboy Way and State Road 80. Here is the current physical section. You have a 6-foot sidewalk on both sides, 2 12-foot travel lanes, and then a 12-foot bi-directional turn lane. So again, we'll open it up to discussion. I can pull up one of the previous. Okay. I left those out because I understood that there were some concerns with each of them. So. Here's what we showed, which was 6 to 10 foot sidewalk on each side, and 2 11-foot travel lanes. Eliminating the 2-way left turn.
The problem I see with this is that you are proposing that we designate Bridge Street as the trunk route, and I just don't think that's near enough room. Yeah.
Chair, I think that this corridor, if we look at it the same aspect as the other, we're gonna be kind of along where we wanna be. It's same road, different side of town, so I think we would, the same footprint here we just discussed, I think we'd be in a better situation.
And I will just add that the reason that we were looking at this is increased sidewalks, and then by eliminating that 2-way left turn lane down the center, it did reduce speed. So we were looking at it as a reduction of speed benefit that you would be receiving. So understood, if we would like to look at it the same way as we did Main Street, we can take a look at that.
What are the issues in changing Bridge Street to State Road 29? You said there were some issues.
As they currently stand, the intersection at Cowboy Way is not lent towards making that the main route. It would need some major modifications to that intersection too.
But the intersection at 80 and 29 in Main Street lends to making it Main Street and State Road? No, I mean, because currently Main Street is where the trucks are going, and that's a state road, correct?
South of it.
Yes. So I don't understand why it's not okay in one area, but okay to bottleneck it in another area in the middle of town. Do you understand what I'm asking? I don't understand why we can't just change the designation of Bridge Street and Main Street and make Bridge Street 29. I mean, I hear what you're saying as far as the Cowboy Way thing down there, but it's equally as bad in downtown Labelle with the bottleneck that we get with trucks trying to make that turn.
Yes,
Yes.
what we're discussing is shifting, make Bridge Street all the way down to Cowboy Way to 29
But you said there was some issue.
with the Cowboy Way.
Okay, but can we go ahead and make it
Right.
the state road?
Yes, we're looking at making that transfer.
How long are you looking at that? I mean, how long is that gonna take?
Mr. Spratt?
Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
The basis of this, their presentation that they're making here is the assumption that Bridge Street completely is state road 29.
We can,
And they're providing, I know that they're providing these improvements along with that transition. Sorry.
yes, we cannot make that change now because of the way the Cowboy Way intersection.
Madam Chair, to that point, I've lived here 57 years, and it's always been that way with that intersection. So why now can that intersection not contain the traffic, rather than having the traffic come into town, make a right-hand turn, make a left-hand turn? That traffic's always, as long as I've been here, and I've been around a lot, they always came in, took that intersection, went straight through, right across the bridge and out of town. It's always been that way. So the question I have is why now is it not adequate, but it has been up to this point? So I'm not quite understanding that. Maybe I'm missing something. If you would please just clarify for me, please. I'm talking about the intersection of Cowboy Way and Bridge Street. Now, again, that's always been the truck route. They've always went through there. We've never had the congestion downtown where semis have to come to the courthouse, make a right-hand turn, go to the next intersection and make a left-hand turn. Right now, that's bottlenecking all of our traffic because we get 2 tractor trailers in that lane. They're blocking 80. East-west bound every bit of it. Same scenario when they come into town, across the bridge, they're coming to the courthouse, they're making a right, and they gotta make a left to get back, to go down 29. So previously, it wasn't that way, it was a straight shot through town, and it always worked. So I guess I'm just misunderstanding why it's not gonna work no more.
If you're looking at truck traffic coming south on 29 to continue down Bridge Street, they would encounter this intersection.
Yes.
And then we would have congestion, backups, and the like due to the way it's configured, because the truck that would wish to continue on 29 would then make the right and the left turn.
And they've done it forever. The congestion's gonna be down there, not right in the middle of town, stopping traffic in the middle of town. It's always been that way. They've always took that route straight down. And yes, sir, it does cause a bit of congestion at certain times. Anything you do, and you know this, you've done a lot of studies, anything we do at some point is gonna cause congestion. It's the matter of where do we want the congestion to be? Do we want it to be congested downtown where no one can get through it? Or do we want it in an intersection where, okay, they had to wait an extra 5 minutes, everyone got through the intersection safely, everything's fine, and traffic's flowing. So again, this is always been.
They have a long straight line stacked up on top of each other.
Right.
And they can, 2 can ease through there, and it still doesn't create the bottleneck that it creates where if 2 stack up on each other going north and or east to go north and continue over to the bridge, it creates a shutdown because no other traffic can move.
When they make that right, then if they going out from the bridge, they make a right, and then get back over to the left. Yeah, and everybody back up right.
Can I get a little bit of clarification? We're
gonna give you all the clarification you want, but you're getting it straight from the horse's mouth right now. That's what I'm telling you. Because this is literally the nexus of why we're in this room right now. The citizens of Labelle are, I'm gonna speak to them, I'm the closest to the sacrilegious. You can't do this in a public meeting, you're close to speak to Labelle, right? Can't do that. They're upset. They're upset because of the congestion downtown. Y'all are here with us, but I think if you'll hear the genesis of what Mr. Spratt is saying and what Commissioner Wills act like he's over in dirt, he ain't. But they're saying, we, the people of this area, would rather see congestion here than congestion up there. The intersections haven't changed, but for whatever reason, the designation has been State Road 29 goes like that. And now the truck traffic wants to take that and go.
Well, I
And
think
so
it's
how can we make it GPS?
Yes. I think GPSs are taking people that way.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
they take trucks that way.
Yeah. That's all we're asking is how can we get back to what it was for now?
Yeah, so the GPS is following the state road designation, so.
Yeah, but and if we redesignate Bridge Street to the truck route, then GPS is gonna correct.
Correct.
And take them straight through, rather than be that stop. That's, thank you, Mitch, for making my.
Exactly, let's just swap roads, we're gonna do that anyhow, y'all road look better, we'll swap. We're good with that. But again, even once you change intersection, the bottleneck really needs to be outside of town, not in the middle of downtown. Right now, citizens can't go to the grocery store, they can't go anywhere, so downtown, 4 o'clock in the afternoon is brutal. First thing in the morning is brutal, they're trying to get to work, so if we could just look at redesignating that, like we're talking about, the intersection, it does bottleneck, but it works. So if you could look at that, we would really appreciate that, getting it just out of downtown.
We have a question. Is there any chance, because I do not like having Bridge Street as a truck route. I hate that, I have to make that public knowledge. I don't like that being the truck route. Is there any way to keep Highway 80, the truck route coming through, but take the traffic more to the east toward Lewiston and put a bridge that way over? That would be a great evacuation route for a storm. It would help the people who live in Horseshoe Acres and who live in Entry Isles. They have to come back to Labelle to go across the bridge to go north, or they have to go into Morgan.
And you could put one of those monstrosity bridges, so it doesn't have to be a drawbridge.
I'll apologize, I meant to mention something earlier. The department has agreed to look at the bypass, look at feasibility study, large view feasible study of a bypass. So I don't want this conversation to kind of go that way, because we will take a look at that and then we will get back with you on.
Before anything else is decided, correct?
Well, if we can just get the roads fixed for now, that'd be a plus.
Well, but that's their responsibility anyway, because that's state roads.
Yeah, Commissioner, I'm just speaking about the traffic pattern changes now. If we get that, that's gonna help us out a lot. We can see the pattern change now, back to what it was.
If we did make it clarification that we wanted for Bridge Street 29, would that hinder from the roundabout? It would not hinder. Thank you. I was just trying to make sure that if we have not made a final decision for Bridge 29, would that hinder the roundabout? You just said it will not, so we need to come to some kind of conclusion on for the 20, for the 2.
I think the general consensus of that is look at that the same way we did the other, is that correct, as far as the multi-use paths, keeping the turn direction? So I think the general idea of that is just look at these two, mirror these two corridors the same way we could.
Yeah, and I'll say that the right of way is obviously narrower than Main, so then might be some things that we can do on Main, we can't do on Main. Sure.
But is there any way that, or any, with the suggestions being made about taking it straight across, changing the street, is that feasible?
Doing the transfer of the 29 designation, yes.
Yeah,
But Madam Chair, just for clarification, that starts with District 1 off the side of me. And is everyone of the consensus that we'd like to see that change occur?
The Bridge Street?
Back to what it was.
Straight and narrow?
Yeah.
Yes, we agree with that.
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
In conversation with DOT, they also, we talked about, they would go ahead and do these improvements because they have to bring the Main Street up to what their current standards are before they give us, the city of Labelle, the responsibility for it. And the same thing with Bridge Street, it's got to be brought up to code in order to be a DOT road. So those physical improvements have to happen as part of this project. And it's not in lieu of or anything like that. They agreed in theory that we can have Bridge Street straight north.
When are we starting that?
It's this project. So that's the timeline of this one.
Okay,
At the end of the presentation, they will give us timelines on when everything will start, but we do have to move forward because they need to have good meetings, so that's why it's important that we come to some kind of decision, in order for them to move forward, so that's.
And Madam Chair, this Bridge Street currently does have 2 sidewalks, you know, one on each side, and I hate eliminating a sidewalk we already have. I know, I'd like to at least keep it in consideration when they're doing their, you know, reconfiguration to see if we can keep one and make the other one not multi-use.
Just to keep a sense of humor, if you get rid of the sidewalks, y'all deal with the hairs and yourself.
Yeah, and so again, with the right of way constraints, if there is going to be that center turn lane throughout, it's basically gonna be what it is today. Unless they.
So you cannot take one to a multiple use.
So the existing is concrete to concrete right away. Drop that whole road. So if that lane stays there, I mean, short of making the lanes 12 to 11, you maybe see a couple feet on one of the sidewalks, maybe an 8 foot, but not gonna get a true multi-use ramp.
Yeah.
I'm just,
And you don't wanna make it narrower because of truck traffic.
Not at all.
so,
But like he said though, it may not be a 10-foot multi-use path, maybe an 8 or.
but if we're talking both the lanes or 12-foot side direction turn lane, you're getting 6 feet. That's all room is there.
The bi-directional could technically be 11, but because it's just a turn lane.
Yeah, so then that's one more foot, but it's not gonna, be straight here.
Understood.
Just say, not gonna get a full, like,
Yes, sir, yeah.
And any other comments and concerns? Thank you.
Okay, so next we're gonna come to the Sabre 80 intersection. Here's the current, what currently is the signals. And then again, this was what we understood the preference, so we're showing it here, with the signalized intersection. So, any questions, comments?
Madam Chair, don't look at the town square options.
So, I think maybe a little bit more clarification on, which slot you're thinking of having the connecting road between Bridge and Main, where town square would be. Who owns what? Or I think that's the one. So there are easements that have been allocated out, or need some more information on that. And what you're specifically thinking is gonna go with that kind of stuff. As far as any kind of planning or like to see there, that kind of thing.
Understood.
To know kind of what kind of traffic is gonna go through there, to not be something that's not.
Okay, so in lieu of a roundabout, which the physical constraints there, we're told we can't do a roundabout. However, we started looking at, there is a right of way which was abandoned in the old USAID parking lot. And it's possible, we can negotiate it. Just trying to think outside of the box and create a cross street there and create a town square, which we don't have right now, which can help with some of the traffic.
Madam Mayor,
Thought that all through.
Madam Chair, if you'll notice in the Dollar General Marketplace, the blue lines represent previously platted right of ways that may or may not exist. Mayor's reply.
and Mayor, I think y'all close that box.
Translate that in form. And other way, kill the idea?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, thank you. I mean, that would put it in some kind of or veteran park. No, you would say the veteran park is right there, close to it. So, it's actually, when I originally suggested this, the right of way is actually farther north than I thought. I thought it was this right of way was right here. But in conversation, that create access here that would bypass this intersection. So someone turning right would actually go through here, come down and go this way. And just to help alleviate, because we have a signalized, if we have a signalized intersection, we're gonna have congestion. So, you know, I was, like I said, trying to be creative and think of something that would work besides a roundabout, which we don't have room for because of the county courthouse and the Veterans Park are both protected spaces. So, you know, I mean, I'd be cool if one to go right there, but anyway. So the town square was, yeah, I was, and never didn't have one, so.
I don't know if it'll work or not work, but.
I don't know, it was,
If they can do a design and let us look at it, I mean,
Because right now, I don't see it. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I don't see it. I see more of a problem for the people that's in the parking lot. But I'm not gonna say it's not doable. So, any other comments?
That's not comment,
Yes.
let's get that later.
yes, sir.
So I was thinking about this last week, and I actually called Wayne yesterday to ask his thoughts on it. It's kind of a radical idea, but there's two problems when it comes to State Road 80 here and Bridge Street, right? Is when the trucks are, or traffic, bus trucks are in the left turning lane to go towards the bridge, there is no room there. So it's always suggested, sometimes they block off Main Street before they can get across. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, from everything I've heard, is everybody in this neighborhood here has expressed their concern with Main Street becoming a highway, pretty much, right? And they want to keep it local. So what I thought about was, what if we sealed off this entrance and made it a right only, and made Main Street a right only? And what that would do is, if you put concrete here, now you've got not only this turning lane, but you've got all this as a turning lane and all of this as a turning lane. So that more than, triples the turning lane. And so that would ease up some of the congestion here, turning on Bridge Street. And if they're already blocking it off, if someone's already blocking it off, you can't get across anyway. It's one of the things that I thought may work. Sealing that off also would keep North Main Street from becoming a highway, pretty much. It would keep it more of a local street, because GPSs and everybody else that's going to be guided by that are going to want to take the straight route, which is going to be Bridge Street. So that's something that I kind of thought about, and I figured I'd bring it up and maybe get on for it.
It's not a bad idea, but if they change that road to come all the way across the courthouse, then you'll be okay.
You won't have that.
We won't have the backup, if they change that Bridge Street going straight across, it'll eliminate some of that.
Madam Chair, could you kind of walk through this intersection briefly and tell us what this is that we don't have right now? This looks like the intersection we have now, so what are you, is there additional, lane width or something here? Could you explain that, please, so everyone will understand what we're looking at?
Sure, so the main thing that gets added, here is right turn. So right turn lane on east on 80, then right southbound Main, northbound Bridge Street, right turn lane, you go east on 80, westbound 80, right turn, you go north on Bridge, and then the southbound Main, right turn lane. The dedicated right turn lanes, you don't have a mixed straight traffic, right turn traffic at the same time, which does increase the efficiency of the city. Get more cars through that going through the lanes and the slowly turn right. So that's one improvement. The other improvement is increasing the left turn storage lanes. You're also not having those left turns stacked up and blocked through. So that helps with the efficiency of the intersection. So that buys more time, basically. Good. All kind of had discussions. We are limited. Certain amount we can do, so this is a way to sort of buy time.
Okay, but in the conversation we've had about the two corridors, this actually would not fit that footprint to what we were talking about a moment ago. You do not have the ability to go south on Bridge Street, correct? Coming from across Bridge North. That ability is taken away when you put the two turning lanes there and have the one straight going north, correct?
And you still have your own dedicated.
Your dedicated left and right turns, so there is no dedication to go south on that road.
Coming north of 80?
North, coming south on 80, no, sir, not on 80, Bridge Street. Not coming into town across the river. Right there, got all kinds of stuff, y'all better go home. Do not pull the trigger. When you come down Bridge Street, coming through 80, when you approach that light, and at this point, what we're talking about is having that traffic pattern change so the trucks go straight out of town.
Correct.
But there is not that capability with this, correct?
The outside lane is the southbound, so that would be a shared right or straight. But that outside lane.
So you got a shared lane there on the right or the straight.
Yeah, and that would lane into its own lane going.
You just have a designated left.
Correct.
Okay, so you're taking away the center lane, basically you're taking away the center, and you're adding a designated left, and you have a combined right or straight.
Right. Okay, so if the continuous left turn lanes.
That was kind of
There'll be a transition to go from the dedicated left, south, to that bidirectional turn lane. But at the intersection, it would be, a dedicated southbound left turn lane, straight.
So clarification, we have right now, we have a designated left turn lane now, correct? We have a southbound lane. So if you're going north and you want to turn left, you'll leave that lane, you'll enter into that other lane. Correct. So what are we gaining there? Just out of curiosity, because that turning lane backs, what we have now backs way down past the courthouse. So there's plenty of room there for that left-hand lane. I guess what you're doing is taking a situation where they're not making a decision whether they have time to make a turn or not. Is that what you're taking with this equation? And then the second part of that is, can we not do the same thing signalized? Where they have a signalized turn only left down, they have that capability. But right now, our lights in town, you have that on one side, but not the other.
Right. And so that whole system of protected lefts versus the green, that all gets reevaluated and more likely have protected lefts on both sides.
Yeah, that's one reason I was asking that question is if we look at these two corridors the way we just discussed it, as far as switching those corridors, this would not be the same as what it would look like coming up to the light. It would be different. It would be more like it is now, where the signalizer would actually tell you when you're going left and you're going right. So I just want to clarify this. I was asking, would you clarify exactly what we have now compared to what you're looking at?
Sorry, yeah. I was just to get the signal part of that.
Sure.
The signal itself would be upgraded to be reset of what we would do.
You'd have a forehead, right? I got you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Madam Chair. So, in reality, nothing really changes on congestion from eastbound Highway 80 turning northbound on Bridge Street. Nothing really is going to change there as far as congestion, correct?
Well, the intent of what we were trying to provide was more balanced traffic of small cars, big trucks, that kind of thing. Balancing it with both main and bridge, so that you didn't have that same everybody trying to turn left on the bridge and back in there. That was the intent of what we were trying to achieve, address that, the downtown part. And so if you try to keep main north of 80 small, low volume, and nobody turning onto it, yes, you still have the same congestion issues of eastbound traffic trying to turn left on the bridge.
The only difference is, Mr. Cruz, the traffic is going straight through now, so we won't have that eastbound congestion of your trailers coming in and blocking those intersections on both.
Right, it eliminates that.
Yes,
I
sir.
understand that part, but the dedicated eastbound commercial traffic, there's still on both sides.
It will, and that flow's pretty good. Our biggest problem really is the traffic pattern blocking our intersections, calling us and shut down. And I believe, going back to what Madam Mayor said a moment ago, this was when we were looking at the roundabouts. And what they were looking at, the question then was going to be, rather than having 2 roundabouts, if we were going to have a roundabout, if we were going to do that, I don't like roundabouts either, but I got to admit the one down there works. I admit when I'm wrong, it works. If we were looking at the situation where we had to, the question was then, in the town square ideal, was one big roundabout that connected all the 4 interchanges together. So you would have, and what she was talking about then would be the center would have been where the Veterans Park is now has been relocated into the center. It would alleviate the insurance and the, one restaurant. So that's what she was talking about earlier, just for clarification, and the discussion that's taking place about that. Rather than having the two roundabouts feeding the lights, if we had the one big roundabout in the middle, then that would kind of make a little more sense. I personally like this idea. I like the lights better. I'm not a good guesser. Sometimes I don't guess good about getting through there. So I like the single line intersections, but just my part of it is I like this portion better.
Even with the, on Lee Street and Hall Street, if there was another light there that coincide that traffic in the middle of it too before it comes back on,
Thank you.
that would help a little bit to coincide the lights on Lee and Hall. And by the time that traffic gets through, then it opens back up. Because if it's not coincide where they could feed off each other, then it's congested. Because it's not enough room in front of the courthouse when the trucks, like they say, come through. It's just too narrow. Not so much narrow, it's not, the left is not enough left there. And there's nothing you can do about that.
That's right.
Yes.
Another question, in line with that, if Hall were to become signalized, but, the yellow thatch that we see, it says, short left turn storage, those aren't medians, right? Those aren't hard medians or hard curves or anything that are preventing people from cycling there. Yeah.
What's shown there is a 4-foot traffic separator. So yes, and this we're showing that it's a separator, so it's small.
So it is like a Jersey barrier, but nice.
What's gonna happen?
It's shorter, it's, yes,
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen is when they make that turn, the traffic in the other lane is gonna be so far down. I do all the time in Orlando. If you don't know the area, you better make sure you're in the right lane again when you get the light get over, because it's gonna be congested right there.
To make sure we are looking at that too, those businesses along that Main Street are really gonna lose a lot of their frontage right there, encouraging them. A lot of parking, they don't have much parking there, you can see.
Off topic, Madam Chair, off topic just a tad, because we looked at the synchronization of these lights that we have now.
Yeah, so it is alternative down with Justin.
Yeah, Lord, it's only in proper to do the red light. If we could check that, that'd be great, thank you.
Yep.
So, could I address the light in Hall Street? You know, I don't know how many of you go down to the downtown Fort Myers, but there's a red light every block, and it moves through the downtown area very efficiently. And I think a red light at Hall Street would help get the traffic through downtown a little. Space it out.
It's got you want a crosswalk there as well, right?
Carson, I love you.
Hey, okay, but, so you're wanting to turn into McDonald's, you're heading westbound 80, and you're wanting to turn into McDonald's. Right now you have to go all the way to Hall and double back, or you have to know that you're gonna turn on 29.
Or you can turn on 29 and turn right.
And
Same thing if you want to go to Burger King, you can turn around, of course, you got to go down.
Just come out.
Either a U-turn or turn down Hall. And in my research today on roundabouts, instead of congested areas that red lights will occur. Just saying, just saying.
yes.
Who were they?
University of Kansas, I believe, was in my study.
So the designation of the turning lane there now, which the curve got a great point. When you do turn into McDonald's now, you have to go south. You turn south to get in. But coming back out of McDonald's, you do not have the option. Everybody does it, but you don't have the option of turning back to go westbound on 8 at any point now. So the question would be, is that the local municipalities issue? That's your road, correct? Coming out of McDonald's now, you have a sign that says right turn only. So for a family that's traveling through town, they say, hey, well, McDonald's, we're gonna pull in. Once they pull in, now that they pull up there and, you know, the gentleman looks at the stop sign of the lady, I can't get back on 80, or how do I get back to 80? So again, it kind of creates an issue for them getting out of there, back the way west now.
Commissioner, what they do is go out the front and
Then
do
you gotta do
a unit, a U-turn.
Well, if they had the option of coming out and going left, they'd be right in the turning lane. They would just take them right back to 80. That's already a regular road. I turn that way anyhow, just don't tell the sheriff.
You're not by yourself.
Actually, I was told that sign was not enforceable until the right property.
That's more like a suggestion, kind of like a speed limit sign. Thank you.
Any more comments? So, we in for the lights, everybody agree with the light? Hall Street. Anything else that you'd like to add, Mr. Wood?
And as far as the light in Wall Street, I mean, that's something that we would have to take a look at. I don't.
When you see the cars that go through, it'll be a Hall Street light.
Yeah.
Any concern?
Well, while you're doing your study on that light, Madam Chair, I know this has been asked many times, I don't know if it's ever been addressed. At the point you're studying Hall Street, is there any way, you're having to do a traffic study anyhow? Is there any way that you could actually do the same situation at MLK, they see if that's a possibility of having a light there? I know it's talked about,
I believe that one is currently underway. They're already looking at that one.
okay, perfect.
Great.
Yeah, different project, not.
Sure, well, I was asking, since you're doing the study, what you possibly.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that one.
Will these be cantilevers or monotubes? These won't be straight poles, right? These will be proper signals.
It won't be, I'm sorry.
Will be a cantilever?
It'll be fast car.
Fast car, that's okay.
Say, have you ever studied the Hall Street before, the lights, or never?
Not to my knowledge.
Sorry.
Did she just say they're gonna be string poles?
Yes.
No, y'all, come on now. What's that upgrade gotta be? We need to start lobbying for District 1 right now. We can't have, this is literally Main Street USA. And we're gonna have, in 2023, we're gonna have, or maybe it's 2024 or 2026 when this happens, we're gonna drive poles on the side of the corners and run strings across. No.
Yeah, so I mean, it could be done with like a maintenance agreement and look at doing it that way. But typically, this area, based on the location of this, it would be a straight pole.
No, we need to formally deny that as respectfully as we can. I don't wanna be argumentative about it, but it looks atrocious in comparison.
Educating.
Ms. Bird, go to any nice area of our state, and we have beautiful cantilever, we have an arm that's on the corner of the intersection, and it goes across the intersection, and it has a sign up there, and it looks sharp. And then you come to other areas of the state, and it's a pole on the corner, and a pole caddy corner on the corner, and they run a cable across and hang on there. And young Carson didn't see anything wrong with either of those, and couldn't tell you the difference. Old Carson pays attention to landscaping and all kind of weird stuff that I didn't know I was ever gonna look at. And I like the cantilever and/or monotube better. It looks sharper. And it allows for the city of Labelle to put up a beautiful something if they want to, or we can use our string poles to do whatever we want after the fact. But I just think that it's not a negligible difference. It's probably 7 figures more per intersection, maybe more. But when you start talking about tens of millions of dollars to the district, and we're part of District 1, I think that it's a nice request for us to have. And I think that if we get it out there in front of them long enough or early enough, they can allocate for those dollars and cents in there.
And Madam Chair, and then, Mr. Turner, I'll add to that, that's one less, set of traffic lights sitting on the ground after a river.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
So again, let's say if we could do it with the maintenance agreements, then we were looking at an increase, or the increased cost would then need to be covered by the local, so.
Understood.
But yes, Matt's arm could go up, so it would just be the difference would need to be covered by the county and the city. And then there could be additional right-of-way costs associated with that as well. Based on that.
Are there any comments? Any more concerns? Anybody?
Actually,
Yeah, I was I was just confirming what he was talking about. This is what he's wanting versus.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, on the right of way taking on Main Street, since it's not going to be your road, why do you need to take anything? North Main Street, North Main.
So this, alternative we were at, exactly right over there. That was the reason why. That way turn, extend out that left side, it's short. And I thought it's really good, so.
I don't know, we might consider not having the right lane in order to preserve the property there, because some of those businesses don't have any actual property to spare. They were built to former zoning standards or no zoning standards, and there's no reason to park them in the house, so to lose 10, 20 feet for you, and maybe the tax.
Well, excuse me, Mayor, but, it looks like that the turn lane starts where the old trading post property. And if you were gonna take some for a turn lane, now would be the time to do it when there's nothing there.
Absolutely. I was referring because it blue lines north, so I just want to make sure it wasn't happening to Heritage and the main child.
It would just start where the vacant lot is, correct?
The lane, but we were trying to provide additional left turn storage when we were trying to balance the traffic. That's why the left turn lane extends further, and this alternative way to.
We don't need it that far. We don't need it to be that long. If it's not gonna be, what, through traffic, I mean, if it's just gonna be local traffic, we don't need it to be that
And we
long.
can look at that too.
It really is low traffic if you're not considering having trucks going north and not touching.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Commissioner Vargas was on point a moment ago, he's talking about this staying local. If we want this to stay a local road, I believe this portion of the road, we kind of need to be like it is. It needs to be a situation where local traffic is going to use it. We don't want to invite everyone coming into town to take this road. There's a daycare on that road, there's a church on that road, there's a school on that road. Just personally speaking, I think the way it is right now, it's good. If we fix the drainage in the areas and upgrade the asphalt, I think we're good. So that portion, you can save some money on that one, maybe we can spend a little more on the arms.
But just keep in mind that if, that's the direction we go, southbound, Bridge Street, will be much more significant than they or even what we're projecting.
We understand, we're wanting to protect that area of town. We've got quite a few areas of town that are like the oak tree canopies, they're beautiful. We're trying to protect the image of that area is what we're doing. So that's just a request I'll mention.
Your comments, that's for the record.
Moving on from any other comments on the intersection?
We can't hear you.
Are there any other comments or questions on the intersection itself? Okay, moving on. So looking at the corridor we were just talking about, Main Street north of State Road 80, here's currently what it is. So you have the 5-foot sidewalk on both sides, the oak tree canopy, which was pointed out, the 2-foot travel lanes, and then the existing grass areas. This was what we understood from the previous meeting, that you guys like on-street parking, so this was kind of the option that we were showing here. Going with the 6-foot sidewalk on one side, 8 to 10 on the other. Going in and out, obviously preserving that oak tree, the canopy that was mentioned, going with that 8-foot for the on-street parking, and then narrowing to the 11-foot lanes.
Everybody agree with that?
I just have a question though. I was looking at your measurements, perhaps the prior slide from what we have now. Start from the right-hand side, you have 5-foot existing sidewalk and then 4 to 5 feet of existing oak tree. That oak tree is in the sidewalk, so that 4 to 5 foot is part of that, so you can't add that to that length of that road.
It's cutting.
Yeah,
It's
so,
cut right into that, so that 5 feet of existing sidewalk is also should be including that oak tree, so that additional 4 to 5 feet you show there, I don't think it should be showing as an addition. Now, that oak tree is part of the sidewalk.
so in those cases, the sidewalk usually doesn't jut out behind the tree. So in those locations, we wouldn't be putting back that sidewalk.
I don't really think that part of Main Street needs, that kind of renovation. The only people that would be parking on the side of the road are the church people, and they have a big parking lot, and I just don't think, I think we just should leave it like this.
Why does anybody disagree with what Ms. Brad just said? Because I think that's exactly what Commissioner Wills was saying. He's not being facetious or anything, he's saying, we're good with this as a community, and this is what home knows, so can we leave it be? Why does this not meet a standard that you all, we understand you have a spec, right? You gotta meet that, but I mean, we're saying repave the joker and then let her go. Is that an option?
And that's where you find the money for this county.
Just bring it up.
Is that potentially an option?
At this point, that's not your road anymore. Right now, if you carry 29 through there, okay, you can say, okay, we're gonna classify this state property. Once you change the designation to the road, that's right back to what it was. It's not no longer a portion of your right of way through there.
Correct. So as was mentioned, our intent in the original design was to split traffic between Bridge and Main. So this was the portion intending to use as part of the traffic. We were upgrading the area as well.
Okay, thank you.
Or otherwise, you're just gonna bring it up to code, am I correct?
If there's no changes required here, I don't think we would touch it at all.
It would pay.
No.
So that's the issue. If I may, Madam Chair. I like, this place we do have walkers, and, half of us actually walk in the street. But it would be nice to have a lights out, because we do have a lot of walkers, we have bikers in there, which they can bike in the way because it's not heavy traffic. And so I personally like that change. I could be in the minority because my other commissioners have trouble.
I myself, Mayor, I like the idea of having the on-street parking. But I don't think that it would just be the church people that would park there. I think that people that are going to patronize the businesses that are for content would definitely be using that sidewalk. Not sidewalk, that on-street parking. There's always a lack of, there's so much of a lack of parking in downtown. That it's any event that happens, you're stuck walking blocks. So I like the idea of having parking.
The biggest change you're giving at the grass strip remains. I like not changing too, but I think the benefit downtown to have additional parking.
So I'm sure their model can show us, and they probably do this right now, how many spots are we talking about gaining? 6? In totality?
It kind of varies, but I think
3 to 4?
3.
no, it's like 10 to 13.
Oh, the other half of the block.
It's not just.
That's the entire. Madam Chair, keep in mind also, the bus stops there, the bus comes in and stops, the kids coming from different schools, they drop children off there and walk to the daycare. So that's a concern as well. You don't want to direct a whole lot of traffic in that area. The more traffic we keep out of that area, really the better, as far as safety.
You also have mothers that remake that square
Right out of there, so.
and deliver it up the road, and, yeah.
Would the on-street parking still keep the sidewalk on the east side of the street?
Yeah, there'd be a sidewalk there, like I said, wherever the other trees are, that sidewalk kind of goes around it. And based on what I have, that's the right, it's just tied to that. Well, and really walk all the way through. So, yeah.
Can you go to the next slide, please, sir?
Either or, very good. Yeah.
Everybody in agreement with the on parking?
No.
No. They don't have to.
No.
I personally think that this I think that this removes the acquaintance of this road, and I think this becomes a higher volume traffic road if we implement this. But I'd love to hear y'all say why you don't for what your modeling shows. I think that your modeling wants to depict this as having more traffic flow so that you reduce, it's not so heavy on
Right,
one.
so again, the intent behind our design, what we're showing here was a fairly even split between traffic, not truck traffic, but traffic in general, so cars and pickup trucks using this road. But if we were to try to eliminate any of utilizing this roadway, I don't know that we would come and make any improvements at all.
Yes, sir. So I think that's one, the question is, do we want more traffic on this side, or do we want to keep it?
And I think they're concerned because there's a church there, for school, there's a library, so they want to limit the traffic in there. The key of it is if they do nothing to it, then the city would be responsible for the beautification of it. And it's just make sure we understand that if you choose not to do anything, that you're responsible for the road. Am I correct?
Can I ask a quick question, please? I'm not sure. Mayor, what is, what the Labelle downtown redevelopment, have you heard any, upbeat comments about having more parking or complaints that you don't have enough parking?
Actually, Commissioner Rafferty, before the second, I have not heard any comments on this design.
I certainly know your city as well, and I haven't heard any complaints about the parking in the area. They do complain we don't have enough, and we do know if we're gonna promote this as being a walking district, we're gonna have more. But to put it in that area right there.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Everybody's in agreement that, Main Street remains the same. There's no additional, anything else we want to do. No comments, we're gonna move on.
Regarding sidewalks, so sorry to interject. So as it is now, is there complete sidewalks on either side of the street? That whole stretch is actually.
Both sides.
That's not, it's not complete all the way on the west side.
Only on the east side. There is on the east side, the east side. There's a portion by the school that has the west side as well. Majority is all on the east side.
Additional city saying that not get some kind of improvement on at least the one side, if we're gonna keep it the same. Why not improve the one side?
Unless they want to make a change, they will not go and do anything. So, and if everybody want to keep it the same, then you, the city will be responsible for the upkeep, any additional, whatever you all want to be done to do.
What about the property that's down there by the post office or to the south side right there? Because there's that vacant area. That's that vacant one. Is that the city owned property? Private property. It's private property.
Which one, Commissioner? I'm sorry.
The one just to the south side of the post office, same side as the post office, but it's that vacant area right there to the north side of the Dollar General behind it right there.
And that would be beautiful city property, the public parking area.
Wait, that's, yes.
It's expensive, but yes.
Oh, no, I'm thinking more if that area right there, could that promote any kind of on-street parking that side and keep it away from kids down there when the buses are gonna, because my other thought is if the bus stops, let the kids off, and the kid walks between two cars, that's always a bad idea. So, and having it there, but what about having it where you still try to get the on-street parking? That way we can still try to get some kind of sidewalks.
Did you look at that area south of the post office?
I don't even know if that's feasible.
Madam Chair, just a question here. We have none, but that's something that, we should probably explore as a city, I'm spending your money, sorry. But that could be metered parking, public parking. Everywhere you go, they put in public parking and they meter it. So you pay $4 or $5 to park hours, days, whatever. So a different conversation maybe to be had would be, would that property be a prime spot for public parking, downtown city public parking, where you walk in, you pay the meter, and you spend your time? So just out of curiosity, that is a prime location, so it's more or less in the center of the whole area right there. So something to think about.
But that's not what we will do.
We'll bring it around. That's what I said later conversation.
So we're gonna leave, Main Street as is, so we're gonna move on to the corner of the.
Okay, so moving on to 404, which is Bridge Street north of 80. Here's currently what is existing, a 5-foot sidewalk on both sides, 12-foot travel lanes, and then 12-foot bi-directional turn. I have this as an example, again, just to kind of start in conversation. Here's what we showed, eliminating that two-way left turn lane, going with 6 to 10-foot sidewalks on both sides. And then having the buffer. The rest of it.
No, we don't want those.
I understand, but I wanted to show it as a option.
So what you don't like?
That middle lane it's critical. In that area of town, getting in and out, to keep that center lane, I think is critical for that area. That's just my opinion.
People are so nice and you're trying to.
Well, especially the way it exists right now with the bridge, you know, you're taking your life in your hand, you actually go into the actual traveling lane as opposed to into the turn lane.
So again, what we were saying with this one, we would look at turn lanes, just specific left turn lanes at spot locations. And then going back, going in and out, and that's where the difference is the sidewalks. So going from 6 to 10 foot, that waiver going in and out, where's the left turn lane would then go in your sidewalk.
But that would be primarily that intersection I'm assuming. Right. So, but for example, where you show that here, that's, you know, people cross all the time, back and forth, between what the museum's open, and more back and forth with that, and then we have the other businesses across the street. The turn lane is going to be right there, just out there. Sorry, I'm not speaking in the mic, but in the honey store too, so it's a high, actually.
But why is that not right? I think you should open the turn lane, but why not the right turn lane? So come on with the traffic.
Right, yeah, we don't have right turn lanes right now.
The situation there, Madam Chair, say you leave the post office and I live north of the bridge. Getting out in that traffic it's not good. So the reason to say in the middle of the area, there would be the problem. Or say you gotta go to the bank and you're going across the street. That middle lane really plays in heavily to getting back out going north. Or if you're coming from the opposite side, which is the east side, going south, it really plays in a lot. There's a lot of times you gotta get in that lane just to get through the traffic. So I think that's the concern of taking that lane away.
Yeah, again, kind of explaining the original thought of balancing traffic that kind of help with that, and also the internal portions, businesses, whatnot, and be able to turn right, back around, have a safe mechanism to go north on Bridge Street up in Park. But get rid of that, and those change the equation.
I'd just like to interject again, though, to see the change and not get some kind of sidewalk improvements on that road too. I like the turning lanes, so you don't get me wrong, so I think those are necessary, but to say we don't want to see any improved sidewalks, that seems kind of silly to me.
But they go in the 6-inch and then why not go back to 12? I think sidewalks on both sides.
Yeah, so if we're going back to that middle turn lane, we would go back to the original sidewalk with it.
So with that being said, would you still be able to go in and do something? Because I remember we just spoke on 3 that if we didn't make any changes, that you would go and do it.
So this is Stereo 29, so yes, we would still.
It still needs drainage as well, so
Yeah,
that's a different animal we'll talk about later, so.
Yeah, this looks, there still has a major construction.
So with working on the drainage and then still put back the turning lanes, is that agreeable with everyone? They're gonna go back and do the same thing, but just work on the drainage. Do it and still have the turning lane and the sidewalk.
Here, I have a question then. Do you have any drawings to show where you're talking about having a turn lane come in and then it disappear again?
It would just be a specific left turn lane at the intersection primarily.
Just at the intersection, so at every intersection you get a little turn in and a little wide lane where you go and make a left-hand turn.
Right, so that open and close movement creates horizontal shifts that slow down traffic too, as opposed to straight shots. That's a benefit of doing that.
My personal opinion, I would prefer to see that and have wider sidewalks, because that is the walking district. And there are locals. Don't get exacerbated.
The only issue with that, Commissioner, the way you're describing, north and south, you have a turning lane, but east and west you will not. So you would still have the issue of trying to go north coming out of your west parking lot, or trying to go south coming out of the east. That's the concern.
So did you just say that you were gonna do away with the center turn lane all the way down State Road 80? And just put little dots in and out? Is that what you just said? Originally? Okay.
No, I'm calling Bridge Street.
Yeah, but you're not doing that now.
But we're speaking on it now, we're trying to talk and make a decision. That's what they were saying, but everybody was speaking on having a turning lane in there. Just keep it like it is, work on the drainage and improve it.
Yeah.
One comment I would like to make, Madam Chair, is, I think that we need to take into consideration the width of the road, with that suicide lane. And again, I think the reason that they narrow these down and have that extra space is to slow down traffic. So a lot of these things that we're talking about, and well, you can't get in, you can't do this, you can't do that. But when you have that much open space and open road, then you feel like you're at this go. Right there on Fort Thompson, right there where Forrest is at, heading towards up the road. When they added that parking and they narrowed those lanes, all of a sudden everybody slows down and they go very slow because they don't feel like they feel constricted, even though there's enough room for them to be on those two lanes. That's what I think they're trying to do here by eliminating that lane, is slow down traffic. And that's, I keep hearing residents and leaders alike talk about the speed in town, and how we need to slow it down, and how we want to be more like South Bay, where everybody knows we got to slow down. And at the same time, the decision that we're making, to me, seems to say the opposite. Let's just keep what we have, and we have big open sidelines. We feel free to get stuff on the gas.
I just believe because of historical reasons, but at the same time, it will slow down the traffic. I do believe that it still be a concern about going in and going out because of the heavy traffic that's there. It might slow it down, but Sally might not like it today, and she might not let you in. So I think that's the biggest concern, getting in and getting out.
Madam Chair, perhaps we should look at the speed limit on that road also.
But just getting in, Madam Chair, and Commissioner, you're correct, it just comes down to enforcement. Just out of curiosity, I know we were discussing taking the center lane away and going to the larger. What's the benefit of enlarging these sidewalks? I mean, we have foot traffic down there, but it's minimal, really not a lot. So just out of curiosity, taking the center lane away all the way through, and Commissioner Vargas, you're talking about slowing the traffic down. You are going to slow it down, but you're still going to have the issues of going in and out. So when you're talking about that turning lane, is it a situation to where at the intersection, rather than having the only left, maybe it's a longer extended lane? So say I got to go north and I'm coming out of the post office, maybe I can get in that turning lane, and then it goes away at the next intersection possibly, or it takes you through Fort Thompson, and then it goes away, so it comes back down to this. You understand what I'm saying? So it gives you the opportunity for the turning lane, but it doesn't take it the whole length of the road.
I would say one of the reasons for these sidewalks is that we're planning out the district, and so for that you need sidewalks. You need to slow the traffic down so people can actually cross the street and be able to go to different businesses on both sides of the street.
And it would allow, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, it would allow for restaurants that we don't have currently, but might have in the future, to do sidewalk like Fort Thompson, to do, to have tables, even if it's not many, but it would allow for that opportunity.
And the lighter sidewalk just provides additional comfort for those people walking, so there is more incentive to walk. And I will comment, I mean, you made the comment that looking at this, you felt claustrophobic, and that's kind of the idea for narrowing the roadways, is that drivers do feel like they're being pinched and they do slow down. which would then open up more gaps. So a gap, if a car's going to 85, cars are going to 85, and you see a gap, you may not feel you can make it, but if you're trying to turn out and the cars are going 30, 35, you may be able to make that same gap size. So just a couple points towards, the slower roadways. I mean, that's kind of the idea and what we're looking at here. Another comment I would like to make is if there are no improvements made, there's no opportunity for additional beautification. So if everything stays the same, there's no option to add those beautifications or landscaping or anything like that.
Commissioners, what are your takes on this? Commissioner Atkins?
I'd like for that last statement to be clarified. You're saying if we stay the way we are, we're not doing anything? Is that what you said? But I thought you said you were doing the drainage and all that.
I think he's mentioning is in this scenario where if you're putting traffic, lane, all you really get is sidewalks that's there today, and this spot there to put kind of street landscaping or something like that. To enhance the underground stuff is still gonna happen. Above ground, doesn't room to anything else. That's one of the advantages of taking that lane out. You have more room to kind of pop in.
If you choose to leave it like it is, then they work on the drainage. They will not do anything other than that. But they will make sure it's up to date.
Correct. We would go through, improve the drainage and put back exactly what's here. So we go reconstruct exactly what's here. And I was just saying there would be an opportunity. So in this one, we see a grass area where we could put potential landscaping or other things to enhance the view.
So you would put new sidewalks?
Correct. We would construct the 5 foot.
But they would be the same size.
Same width.
It would be like corridor 3. Corridor 3, they would, on Main Street, they would not do anything, but on this one, they will. I know she's asking, but they will.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Curveball. Don't fill out, it's gonna break. The downtown area we're looking at here, just out of curiosity, you're talking about, landscaping and different things. Slowing traffic down. What's the opportunity of having some greenway space put inside of these turning lanes in some of the areas of downtown where it looks like a real nice downtown when you come into town, Palm, whatever the case may be. Sort of like you had one in the Fort Myers area when you did it through Tice, you start seeing some nice downtown areas where you've done, like Lake Placid through 27 where you've done that. Yeah, and what's the vegetation in the center lane rather than you're slowing traffic down, but it also adds a beautification level to the town, so it looks a little more quaint. So just out of curiosity, like I said, it may be strange.
Yeah, it's an option with that. If we were to say maintain that center left turn lane, we could break it up with islands, trees, and that.
Slow traffic down, looks nice.
I'd like to remind everyone that is still right now designated as a truck route. And
Actually, that can't be helped because of where it's coming from. It's coming across the river. It's not something that we can control. So, there's something wrong.
I just.
And would like to comment on the speed limits. It's something that the DOT would control the speed limit on.
So it is a possibility to have some green space, maybe we can see something with some green space in it. I think that would look nice coming into town. Rather than just asphalt all the way through, I think it'd look nice. And it's definitely gonna slow traffic down, so. Just a thought on how y'all feel about it, Commissioner.
As you talked about other extended turning lane options, I think that's the visual that we need to see. I think that's where, we're only seeing either a 2-lane or basically the suicide lane in the center. We don't see that other option. I think we need to see that other option, see how that will work.
With the dots, yeah.
We don't have any of those prepared.
Is that a possibility we could actually get that though? That'd be great.
As far as the options, have you coordinated with FDOT, you relocate some of the power lines low ground?
We would go through the whole utility process, yeah.
And whatever it's worth, the sidewalks there in downtown are pavers an option in lieu of concrete sidewalks? Just address that area up.
That's another thing that the locals would need to cover the difference and then maintenance agreements to maintain.
We'll maintain the papers and keep the red light.
For sure.
Well, they're working on that light, so some kind of way you want to make it work for us. Any other questions? But,
So, what we're gonna look at, and take back is prepare, a visual of maintaining that left turn lane and breaking it up with those items.
That'd be perfect, thank you.
so do you,
And maintaining the existing sidewalk.
I know it's in, we're looking at time now, but how soon would we, can you get back to us? We want to make sure to stay in line with the public meetings.
Probably about a month.
End of August?
Three or 4 weeks.
We just don't want to hinder the public meeting, but like, you know. Yeah, thank you so much.
Main thing that we're looking for is that consensus. That helps us move
Right.
forward. It's when it's back and forth.
Because there's no other person going to continue on. Thank you.
Just as far as the improvements of it, going down the road, keeping this the same. Why can't we improve the red lights? Or the I'm sorry?
We
This is
go
part of
to
the power
underground.
line, that's part of the problem.
They did.
They will.
They are.
Power pole and everything.
They did make that comment.
He said he would address that.
They would.
Yeah, as part of the utility coordinating process, so the owner can work with us to address all the utility. So.
The owners of the FDOT, the owners of the property.
Of the utility. So,
Okay, so FDOT, okay. And we could consider underground, is there something that we need to do to minimize that? That's an FDL
Yeah, that's
conversation?
correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And potential right away.
Understood.
Thank you. Any more comments? Let's continue on.
Okay, so moving on to the final intersection at Park Avenue. Here's the existing as it is, it's just stop sign control. Again, for the previous meeting, we understood that leaning towards the roundabout, this roundabout option was provided that through, northbound through lane, on the right side of the roundabout. Again, same thing, open up for comments, questions, and if there were any other questions for the other intersections.
Any comments?
Yeah, this is
Oh.
showing the second bridge,
Correct.
but if we don't want the second bridge there,
That's, yeah, I don't think that,
No.
well, wait a minute, if we're doing a study to see about a bypass bridge, then we need to wait before we make that determination that you're gonna put a second bridge downtown. Because once you do, we lose the flavor of Labelle. Once you put that second bridge there, we lose our identity.
Amen to that.
the second bridge is needed for redundancy. So,
Are you listening to me? Yeah, because sometimes I feel like, you guys come down from the state and think that y'all can just tell us, we're gonna do this whether you like it or not, and I don't think that's right, because I think you guys are supposed to work for us, is that not correct? And I don't think, I don't think we need that second bridge there. I think we need to take a look at that bypass option before you start building a second bridge.
Before we move on, is there an option?
Oh, I have to interject here. This option was discussed. I don't know if it was 08 or 10, but this was vetted publicly for years.
Yes.
And I think that consensus kind of arrived. Now, whether y'all disagree with that, I'd love to know. But this is still going to be years in the making.
So Carson, are you saying you're not gonna be here? Is that what you're?
What I'm saying is that if you press the pause button on this right now, and you think that we have the political might to get a bypass east or west of this, and whether it's a high rise or a bascule, I've been elected since '08, and Fort Dedeaux has been in disarray way before '08. Fort Dedeaux needs between $15 to $25 million to get back up to, just up to snuff. And we can't find that. We can't find the dollars to be allocated for that. To push a bypass to where we get away from this plan and push a bypass, I don't know how many miles east or how many miles west on the Kusatchee River.
Carson, all I'm saying is that we shouldn't proceed with the plans for that second bridge until we looked at the feasibility study.
We're only looking at the feasibility study. That's not saying that if it does come back as a feasible option, that that's happening in a reasonable, or in a short time, because it would still go through the whole process of needing to go to the NPO, getting approved, going through the TD process in time, which you would still be looking at probably 20 years before that happened. That bypass was constructed.
So if that was the case, where does that leave our current bridge?
The bridge right now, it needs to be repaired. It's to the point where something needs to happen with the bridge.
How old is that bridge? You know, the height of that bridge and where it's at right now with the clearances on that as well?
I think it's 60, 70 years.
Right?
It's important to know that the bridge has become older than that.
Way over.
Oh, yeah.
We talking about repair or replace?
Replace.
Madam Chair, my concern comes in here. I've got to get a paramedic to Mr. Harris's house. That bridge isn't there, and I got a bypass to get to Mr. Harris's house. I may be late getting there. I may need to get someone on Nobles Road. I'm gonna be late getting there. My biggest concern right now is life and safety, so moving the bridge out of town takes away that capability. We do not have the funds right now to build a station north of the river, fire, nor EMS. So again, my concern here would be, how do I get people to 49 acres that can't cross the 49 bridge because of the weight of the truck? So right now, I have a hard time getting someone to Scott Lindy Road, which is on the county line. We move that bridge further to the east, that takes their probability of making the heart attack or whatever the case may be, way less. I don't like the idea of a bypass. But more concerned with the bypass would be, what are we bypassing? Are we bypassing town because we don't want to see a dump truck and we lose someone that we love and we've known for 40 years? So that's my concern. When you take the bridge out of town, now I can't get an ambulance over there. I've been criticized about this. They're gonna build the bridge that needs to be rebuilt, they're telling us that. So if they build the bridge in town, what reality do we live in? We think that semi-driver is gonna say, I'm gonna take that bypass, because I'm going to Immokalee. I've got a freight I'm going to Immokalee with. I'm not going 5-10 miles out of my way, I'm going to Immokalee. That's just reality. You know, these guys get paid by the load, so my concern is life safety. That's my biggest concern.
And I get that, Mitch. I don't want to see anybody die either.
Right.
I'm probably next on the list.
We can get you on this side.
So in building this bridge and moving it, what happens to the bridge that's already there when it's stay up? Continue to do have to come down.
Yes, so part of the construction process with the existing bridge would remain while the new bridge is constructed, and then we would, once that one is open and constructed, we would then tear down the old bridge and reconstruct it.
And how far apart are they from each other?
30 feet.
Next question, you had said, not you, the department had said this bridge was gonna be a tad higher, so it wouldn't open as much, correct? Right now in the morning time, the bridge opens like, Lord Jesus, we know you guys don't have nothing better to do, but I gotta get my kids to school and I gotta get to work. Lunchtime, people can't get home, so it's gonna be a situation, either way, it'll be a hindrance. But again, my biggest concern is I wanna make sure I can service the people of Norfolk well. It's not my district, it's not about my district, it's about the people I know and care about. So I'm concerned about being able to service that adequately.
So understand the bridges, when one bridge is going up, the other bridge don't come down, the flow of traffic will not stop, it's just a little bit more congested, so they're not gonna take down a bridge or take down everything, you know, that's.
No, ma'am, it'll never be not operable.
Yes,
There might be a 7-day window where they have to shut things down and redirect, but even then, it'll.
that's what they was concerned about, you know, we might not like it, but it's really a bridge, I mean, it's like you need a new car when it's gone, it's gone.
I'll just tell you, I'm thankful that the community came together in the manner that they did to get this design pushed through, and District 1 listens to the community to keep them in a footprint that's as tight as you possibly can, and we never really entertained a high rise and that asinine concept, because I understand Ms. Graff, to your comment about this has the ability to hamper downtown Labelle. I think that you feel that it can be much more detrimental. I personally think that if this is done in the manner that's being proposed, I think it has the ability to be a huge incentive to downtown Labelle. And obviously, we can only hope, but I'm just thinking that we're able to build it.
Madam Chair,
I have a very important question. We put in that second bridge. We made no improvements to Main Street. Put in the second bridge. Where's all the traffic gonna go while you redo the bridge and redo Bridge Street? All the traffic's gonna come down our Main Street. We're not making any improvements on Main Street. If we need Main Street just like it is, how is that traffic how are we gonna handle that traffic? We don't even have a center lane on Main Street right now for anything. So when we do the second bridge right there, they close Bridge Street, redo the bridge, all traffic's gonna come through Main Street.
The bridge, if I'm correct, Bridge Street don't close out, while you're working on the bridge, traffic still flowing.
Bridge Street will,
It still flows, am I correct?
yeah. So basically, the improvements, when we make them on Bridge Street, putting in the new drainage system, rebuilding the sidewalk and paving lane by lane. In that stance, you're probably gonna have just the 2 lanes while building it, so the trucks always stay on bridge. You don't wanna have trucks on Main even during construction, this is people purposely trying to do for the trees. So what's gonna happen is there may be nights where you gotta shut it down more than before the truck, on one night basis, after hours, late at night. But a normal day-to-day operation, have 2-way traffic, probably just in 1 lane and Main speed. The southbound lane, the center lane is going north, and the outside lane is being worked on, and the sidewalk's being redone. So the sidewalk will have like detours around for pedestrians, but it's up 2-way traffic, and it'll move one over and kind of, start working on the center lane, paving it back, and then back across, and that's kind of how we work it. So you're always gonna have that, you don't wanna have trucks on Main Street.
So this proposal is not really a proposal anymore because this is gonna take traffic down Main Street, correct?
actually, Madam Chair, if I may, one of the things that we discussed is that this is an exit only local road. So there's not gonna be any traffic, this would be eliminated, and it would be exit only local traffic. And outside where you do their items, which is one thing that they didn't have time to modify the roundabout, kind of see.
Right, so a lot of what we've been discussing will take some. We'll have to go back and take a look at it, and some major changes no longer utilize Main Street in the way that we had intended, and that was part of what was designed here. So yes, we'll have to go back and take a look and see what changes may be needed.
Do you all feel, just off the cuff, and you can't answer, that's fine as well, but do you feel that's a potential fine ointment? I know y'all came here tonight with the concept of dividing traffic on Main Bridge, right, in this portion. But I think that what we're hearing is we want to keep Main Street quaint into local. Do you anticipate that will be a non-starter, or can we get what we want as a community as it relates to that?
On Bridge Street.
Understood. We hear you loud and clear on that. And we're in agreement that we would rather have Bridge Street more congested than Bridge and Main even splitting the traffic. And my question is very direct. Is that a possibility for this community to see that realized? And Ms. Spratt, and Mayor, anybody, if I misarticulated that, please correct me. Okay. Because I just heard Ms. Wilkins say, and I agree wholeheartedly, we do not want to see that northbound entrance off of Main Street onto the bridge, correct, Ms. Wilkins?
Yes, sir.
And we would love to see an elimination for the volume of that split to occur. We would love to keep it to where Main has less of a flow. Because we do feel that keeps the ability for it to be walkable. It may actually piss a trucker off that he has to go straight. So be it, bud. You're gonna have to go straight, and we know we're gonna deal with that congestion, but it is what it is. And we're hoping that we can straighten that out and keep a bridge going straighter longer instead of that bottleneck of a right and then a hard left, that we eliminate that some, but the community gets back to going where that's at. So I just think that's one thing that we're wanting to really carry home, that we want y'all to go back to the drawing board and try to work with.
Yes, and I'm understanding that.
Yes, thank you.
And may I add to that, Commissioner, if we are gonna make Bridge Street the congestion area, how are the walkers that we have so many of, gonna get across from the west side of the street to the east side of the street, or vice versa? Because there's no red lights on that road, and we don't want any of those pedestrian things on that road.
But in reality now is that's where all the traffic's at now.
I
So
know.
we're not having trouble with pedestrian areas there.
I know, because we don't have that many walkers.
Well, they get out people more accurate. The key to that is though, we're not changing anything as far as people walking downtown. What we're discussing now, and the biggest concern was traffic going across that bridge. Traffic's always going across that bridge. It's always going to go across that bridge. That's just the reality. But right now, walking across the street's not an issue. Pulling out your car is the issue.
Yes, I would agree.
We want people to walk on the Main Street side. That's where we want them to walk.
So we want them to stay to the west of Bridge Street.
Sure.
They don't need to go to the east at all, unless they're in their car.
They can go to the east if they want to go. There's a sidewalk there. But my point is, you're still going to have cars are going to go north and south on that road. It's a main artery.
I get it, Miss.
Unless you want to put a nice walk over.
Was everybody in agreement with the roundabout?
If
With
we're looking,
modifications.
if we're looking at the major changes that we've talked about here and go with that there may be different considerations for this intersection. I know we had shown a signalized intersection, and that may be given what was discussed, that may be maybe more heavily weighted, that may be more the preference once we look at all these options. And again, that would be input from all of you guys.
If I may, Manager, I think we were 100% against the signalized option of the foot of the bridge at the last meeting we couldn't have on, so. I think we're not having that.
Commissioner Spratt's, I agree with Commissioner Spratt's statements. And I agree with Mitch. Change is gonna be hard, but for life and safety reasons, I agree with Mitch that we cannot just deal with one bridge. I would hate to say that, but it hurts me to say that. I'd rather have one bridge, personally. No, I mean, I don't want things to change. However, I don't want to see the impact as it's shown here. I mean, I have to see what they're talking about. I mean, something to reduce the impact of their park and reduce the traffic down the lane. So I agree with both statements. There's a contradiction, but I'd like to see something different.
We have to understand that we're growing. And you cannot plan for 5 years, you gotta plan for the next 20, 30 years. You can't, we might not like it, some of might not be here to see it, but if you don't plan for the future, it's irrelevant to make any change.
Absolutely. Oh, never mind, it's coming up.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, could y'all clarify what size would be?
This one, we're showing is right diameter of 162. This is similar to the size of the This one's primarily a single lane roundabout, it just has a bypass lane on the outside, going northbound, so its need is not necessarily a couple 193 foot, but it is designed to handle trucks, make those lots. And the trucks would primarily be going straight through here, so we need for a truck to make that turn. It's designed so the truck is not off track to the next lane.
Is that showing the taking of that building?
No, it's just a small amount of, where we're kind of using the sidewalk that's there. But it's not, it's nothing, it's basically, it's like a driveway tie kind of thing, it's not like. Something that we did incorporate into this one is the right turn onto Park, from northbound.
Madam Chair? Question, where the bridge is coming in, I know you had showed I believe it's gonna be a wall, an opaque wall, so we're gonna make it stop. Question I have there, is there an opportunity to turn that into an open span where that area can be utilized for the downtown district as far as swamp cabins and other areas? Rather than having it closed in underneath there, having that open span down 2 foot, is that possible? Okay, the question.
With the wall, what we have here, we would have a wall along that west side, and it would open up a little bit more space there in Merritt Park, so there would be increased, room space available. You're asking about underneath the bridge?
I'm talking about no different than what you have north Fort Myers coming down 41, it's an open span all the way under, they utilize the entire area under the bridge. Also, your colonial intersection, where they utilize the space under the bridge, is an open span rather than a closed area. Does everyone understand what I'm saying there? So we don't lose that space, we still utilize that space. It's a green area we can actually use underneath.
Centennial Park downtown?
Yeah, I know it's talking about, I've seen other examples.
Right. That just opens that whole area there. You're coming down, but you're still coming down to the foot of, 41 and over there as well. So I would just think, if you look at that as an option, have that open area there.
Wade County, you can actually look at it and still go back underneath if we go to the other side of town.
That's long. You can look at that, thank you.
We can look at how much we can actually expand that, sure.
But one question, but if you do that, would you actually not bring the bridge out further out this way? To get more, you're talking about getting open space up under here, is that right, Mitchell?
That whole area open, rather than being dirt and concrete, it's open area with potting, just so it's a free span rather than a closed span area.
I like that idea, I just want to make sure that it doesn't extend the bridge back.
No, sir, it would not, it would just be rather than the
Different design.
The different materials, all it is.
Yes, we'd be looking at how far we could extend that without.
And then envision just anything to minimize the impact, especially talking about the park and also the library too.
That's gonna open it up, that would open all of it.
All the same thing, but that's, that would open, talking about the park, that's great.
But
Like the library as well.
if I could ask, that wouldn't cause us to lose the ability for the Soto Avenue underpass, correct?
Yeah, that's.
It would complement probably.
That would.
What is the distance, what is the ramp when you're coming onto, what is the distance from the center of the bridge down? Like, where's it gonna land, in other words, when you move that? The new bridge is gonna be there, how is the second bridge gonna be when it lands? Because if it's parallel to the one we have now, how's that gonna work?
It'll be a slightly different profile. One where the goal is to slide the opening of the channel, the bridge, a little bit more, about 2 feet. So that kind of gives us the ability to come in a little bit higher. Hopefully not have as many openings from the antenna.
To that point, but what about the landing part?
The landing's got to land in the same spot eventually at Park. So you have to be tied in by the option. So takeoff will be the same, it's just a matter of the slope being a little bit different as you find out this is proposed. But it's got to tie in the same spot, so.
Because right now, the foot of the bridge is right there at Park Avenue.
Yes, and
That
that
one
one,
would be right at that old bank building.
so it's going to basically land profile-wise the same spot, just it has to kind of open up. it's basically the northbound and southbound bridges. But profile wise, it's going to tie the same slope.
I think it would, be very, profitable for us, in the city to have the kind of bridge that Mitch is talking about, where you don't have the mound underneath it, you can use that space. I think that would be a big help.
It would complement Barron Park when you have the food trucks, especially small cabbage.
Absolutely.
There's going to be a limit to how much you can pull that back from a vertical clearance. I mean, I think even crossing over to Soto, limit me at that 15-foot clearance. So, further you get south, they quickly start dropping down. Won't be as steep as the profile was today, but it's still going to be dropping down. So, there's a limit to what you can kind of do with it.
You know, that's quite a bit from where you're at now.
Okay, guys, we over talking each other. Commissioner Howard.
Madam Chair, I wanted to ask, I heard something different today that I heard, in the previous meeting. The bridges, I heard in one meeting, were going to open simultaneously. Is that now not the case?
That is the case.
That is the case.
Yeah, that is the benefit of having a beach with, like, they go.
So both, when foot traffic is going through, both spans will open and close at the same time.
Correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Clayton.
I just want to make sure that when you guys come up with a design, you show us a site profile so we can see the depth. Even show where the library facility can react from that angle, and you show it from the library side lanes where Barrett Park.
Commissioner Wilson still wants to speak.
No, ma'am, it's just.
Ability of a left turn from Bridge Street, so it fixed local traffic, then it would, you could be one way up this way, just for the bridge, go to the roundabout, and you go down here, it would only be one lane here, so it reduces the footprint, and then all the traffic just comes straight down except for local traffic. That was an option that we had discussed when. And that's not viable, or it is viable?
That's something we're actually looking at, yes.
Okay.
I like that, because it takes the traffic back.
Yes, ma'am.
And take it off the main street if they go on.
And reduces the amount of property that they have to have, and that's a great idea, Commissioner Wells, on opening this up, because that's been our mission for years, is to try and use also the library side during Swamp Town Festival and other events, and it's just hard to retrain people, but if that opened up, it would be a world, it would just really make downtown more wonderful.
On the roundabout, are you able to put a big live oak tree there that's lit up?
First, not to have anything in the middle so you can see the traffic.
Well, that's why I was thinking the height.
Yes, there are some limitations to what can go in the center there, to make sure we can maintain the line of sight.
But I like the way you think.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
how about a huge flagpole?
I like it.
I mean,
I like it.
yeah. That would look nice coming into town, just saying. That's a beautiful one in Clewiston.
Yeah. It's,
Labelle would look very nice for one of those. We could probably work something out. We won't have a courthouse.
Say what you do on one side, what time you do on the other, you're gonna continue. Any other questions or comments?
I do have one. Just somebody walk me through, if I'm coming down Bridge Street and I wanna go to the left on Park, I'm going north on Bridge, can I get to Park on that roundabout?
You would do the left hand lane.
Okay, I just, it's roundabout.
Any other comments? Okay, we're gonna move to the park. Thank you.
Okay, so that's kind of the end of the project within the city limits, so we'll kind of look at, that's it, so they can take a look at what was happening on the bridge. So we're gonna show the bridge here, so we've got the new southbound and northbound bridges, 30 feet offset between the two. It's all concrete decks, all new, it'd be all new bridges, so the existing bridge would be replaced, with And this is just showing what the typical section would be, like a 5-foot sidewalk on both sides, 8-foot shoulder, 12-foot travel lanes. Along the barrier.
Madam Chair, could we have lamp posts on there, light posts? It's classy.
Does the bridge operate on demand?
There would be a tender.
No, but he's
At any time, if I pull up on a boat, you're gonna open it for me and stop traffic at any time?
From discussions I've had, I think that's the way that it operates.
The current operates as the Army Corps person?
So yes, that'd be something that would need to be coordinated with
Yes, it's Coast Guard Corps, and then, but we're allowed to weigh in on that, right? As a local municipality, like we can request hour or half hours or on top of the hour, all that, right?
Yeah, so then you guys would.
And then we can actually command, be like, we're gonna have a 7 to 9 window where we're only gonna do all the hours. And then 9 plus, and then do it every hour, and then, so on and so forth will be on demand.
Yeah, so that would be, you guys would need to work through
We need, yes, okay.
So right now, someone shows up at 7:15, they open the bridge. That should, I don't even know why we're talking about that. That should be just decades.
No, it's not, I don't think that's up to us. I think the Coast Guard reigns supreme on that, and we have to petition them to change that and justify it. But it should be easy numbers to be able to justify that. But yeah, we can engage in that. Coast Guard commander reigns supreme.
I got a question on that. That's putting 30 feet clearance between the two bridges. So that's gonna move the one to the west, 30 feet over from the existing one, because we're not moving the location of the existing one, except moving it a little more to the north, am I correct? So we're going over 30 feet, then we're putting in another 12, 24, 30, 40, 50 feet on the other side. We got enough room to put that in there without infringing over top of the Barron Library? There's enough room, is that bridge gonna be sitting right beside the library? That's a lot of footage right there.
It's basically lining up with that existing road, this side of the key connects.
So you line up the page.
There's that little side road that the library exits out of, and that's the lift station down there, that connects to Soto.
Yeah.
So basically, it lines up with that, which is what frame of reference basically.
Madam Chair? I would really just like to take this opportunity, I appreciate all the conversation. I'd like to thank you for being open and receptive to the ideas that we're coming up with. Thank you for your time that you put into this study. We know it's a lot we're asking. Thing is, we live here. So we appreciate your attention on this matter, and thank you for working with us.
And,
Thank you very much.
You have a couple more slides if you want to see what's happening north of the bridge. Just, it was requested to see what was happening there. Here we have two options, showing a couple roundabouts for the option that Noble Road would be single versus the roundabout. And continuing north of that, Wind would be another roundabout, and then it comes back to the 2 lane. And then just wanted to kind of touch on the timeline of this project. Again, you mentioned looking for the public hearing for the PG reevaluation, trying to take place later this year. And then moving forward, progressing through design, we're looking to have the phase 2 plans by winter of 24, 25, so either November, December, beginning of February timeframe. And another option for opportunity for public to provide input around that time. And then hoping to have the right-of-way acquisition process begin in early 2026. I just wanted to mention that the construction funds are currently programmed in July of 2029. Yeah, so that's the date that we are targeting with this project.
thank you. Are there any other comments or questions?
Yes, Madam Chair. We flew through the portion of that's not in the city pretty quickly, and, you know, we all waited in great detail. Do you all have comments and concerns? That's not been a primary focus of our discussion, but all the roundabouts north of the bridge, I've heard a lot of downsides and negative things from folks, so I was just curious how y'all felt about it, if y'all could back up the slide a couple. Yes, ma'am, these slides right here.
I'll tell you from, my perspective, I think the continuous flow is going to be helpful rather than having current stop signal. I listened to the constituent last night, the plane lives on Marshfield Grade and it took him 30 minutes to get into town. So, I see some benefit with the roundabouts. I thought there were 3. I thought there was a third one at Busser.
That's,
Okay.
yes.
So there's actually 3 roundabouts, correct?
Yeah, Buster Nobles and Wade.
How big are these roundabouts?
These are, on par with the under, again, designed for the large trucks to maneuver through them. And these are, you know, the primary routes of these trucks are north-southbound. So it's less of movement with turn. But if they had to, they can make that.
And I, to go along with that, I think that the slowing in the traffic is going to be a benefit of having that configuration.
Yeah, so having the one right foot bridge helps for traffic coming in town. It also provides a nice way to do a U-turn without having to wait for traffic there.
I do believe, for this one,
Sorry. Yeah, my major concern with this one is, you know, businesses right here, because they're not right dead on the intersection, and if you have, they wouldn't have access from this roundabout, they'd have to go down to this roundabout, and this and come back up this way to get access. So I don't know how that affects them.
I like an interjection first, I'm sorry to interrupt, but coming out of that business now, as it is, if we leave the road alone, that doesn't work either. So we really gotta be open minded and have some more capacity over there for folks to even get out of Riverbend and then businesses plan to go, John, turn around, that might be.
you can just go around it again, and then come back in. I think you can go around and then exit off to the right and still have access.
That right there is north of their property, but there's another property owner right here with their access right here. So, but anyway, just.
Is there a turn lane anywhere in there
Specifically for that.
for that business? That's there. But it's possible to put something there to keep, because how, otherwise, how would that access?
We would work with maintaining that access.
Okay,
Oh, okay, all right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, one last question, it's off topic, just a tad, but it's our brothers and sisters next door in Lake County. I was partnered with Lake County on a new safety facility just outside of town, I'm sure you're aware. Is there a possibility of looking at that as to get a safety light there for if ambulance needs to come out, they can press a button, goes from flashing yellow to red? Like you see in the middle of any other intersection where you have a municipality going out with a fire truck or an ambulance. I know that's something off task. I'm just asking them while we're here, so I won't see you again for a while, so I
It
just thought I'd
is
put
something
that
that we
in.
can relay for traffic coverage.
If you would, please, thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone coming out. I hope that we're open for change and open for the future. As you stated, it can't stay that way. There's no way that everything can stay the same. So we might not be able to see it, but we need to make preparations for our youth to come. So but thank you again. Appreciate your time coming out. Looking forward to seeing folks in August. We thank the city for coming together with us. I don't know, I have to do something about the scratch carpet.
We've been trying, we need to bring frosting.